Okay, so this is proof that Dave Filoni just enjoys breaking our hearts over and over again. Hello there, troopers, and welcome back to General Kenobi's Bunker. Thank you so much for joining me on this review for episode 5 of Tales of the Jedi. Practice makes perfect. If this is your first time here on the channel, we hope you stick around. Please subscribe if you enjoy the Star Wars content. Around here, we do toy reviews, toy hunting, and of course the occasional TV episode review, such as today. So let's go ahead and jump right in. We start the episode on the Jedi Temple, where Anakin pulls into a room full of well-known faces. And we got the real MVP of the episode right here, and that is period correct mullet Obi-Wan. Okay, why do I say period correct? Because remember, this is supposed to be right after episode 2, where he had long hair. Okay, we never really saw this version in the Clone Wars. From the very beginning, he was the short hair, sort of the episode 3 kind of look. So I'm so glad that we actually got to see this corrected. Okay, and yes, I know. By the time Ahsoka showed up for the very first time in the 2008 Clone Wars movie, Kenobi already had his short hair. But again, I like this better. It's just classic. And so everybody's basically watching Ahsoka take down some training droids, and we have Master Kenobi and we have Master Deba Bilaba along with her Padawan, Caleb Doom, aka Kanan Jarrus, which I thought was pretty cool. And so Master Kenobi, remember, we saw him last in the live-action Kenobi show. He was frozen in that amber inside the Inquisitorium, I guess, dungeon. So Anakin and Obi-Wan watch as Ahsoka takes down droids pretty easily and with style. Again, mullet Obi-Wan, love it. And our very young Caleb Doom is very impressed with the way Ahsoka is performing. So after the test, which everybody's like, okay, you did really good, Anakin pulls over Ahsoka, and she's like, what's the problem? And he's like, well, it's a lousy test, you know. And she's like, well, it's what every Jedi does. And he's like, yeah, that's kind of the point. That's my problem with it. If you want, I will test you for real. And she's like, okay, let's do it. So he brings her to an empty military hangar where there are members of the 501st. And we see our good old boy Rex back in all his glory. We got some Phase 1 clone troopers along with him. So this is at the beginning of the war when they're all basically still Chinese. And so the test that Anakin prepares for Ahsoka is to basically have her surrounded by clone troopers, blasting her with stun rays. And I have to say, I don't remember off the top of my head ever seeing lightsabers, you know, she's not really deflecting. It's more like busting or like, you know, fracturing the stun ring, you know, the energy ring that basically hits you and stuns you. So I thought visually that was pretty cool. I really like that. And I feel that it's overdue that we see something like that. Again, you know, we've seen stun blast since pretty much the very first scenes in all of Star Wars, back in A New Hope, when they stun Princess Leia at the beginning when they're boarding her ship. So she gets taken down, obviously, pretty fast actually. And I thought it was cool that it's actually Jesse, the one who took her down. Again, Jesse just being a regular trooper right now. And we know that he becomes an ARC trooper. And we know that he becomes pretty much the leader of the 501st by the end of the Clone Wars. And so it's little details like that that I've been enjoying all over Tales of the Jedi. Then Anakin keeps repeating the test over and over. She gets getting knocked out over and over. She gets frustrated. He approaches her, basically telling her, hey, this is life and death. If you can deflect or you can defend against the clone troopers, you're going to be pretty much ready for anything. So this is me training you to survive because it is my responsibility. Then we have a time jump to, we see more grown-up Ahsoka. We see the 501st in full colors aboard a Jedi cruiser. And so this is around the time where she is about to leave the Jedi Order based on her attire. And she is still training, right? It's taking them longer to take her down, but they're still taking her down. We see Anakin Skywalker pretty much on his look towards the end of the Clone Wars, which is very close to the Episode 3 look, of course, for the live action. And of course, Ahsoka is already wielding her both her lightsabers, green at this point still, because again, this is just before she would leave the Jedi Order. Then we have another time jump to just after the Siege of Mandalore. And this is basically the last episode in the Clone Wars Season 7, or in all of Clone Wars actually. And this is when Order 66 is going on. This is the time when the clones turned on her. She managed to survive, and she helped Rex remove his control chip. And so he is helping her in trying to fool the rest of the 501st, who is completely turned on her. And so the last thing Rex says to her before this episode ends is, I hope all that training pays off. Which we know it did, because again, she survived the initial attack on Order 66, basically using the exact same movements that she'd been learning all these years training with the clones because of Anakin. Okay, so this is a way of saying that Anakin actually saved her life, and it's because of Anakin that she actually survived. And this is just, classic Filoni. Again, we don't really see anything new on this one. Actually, I think this episode is the one that contributes the least to the story of Star Wars, but it's one that hit us, maybe a little bit more than the other ones, because it's a little bit ironic, right, that thanks to Anakin, Ahsoka actually survived. And then after, we know that Vader is frantically looking for Ahsoka because, she represents that part of his past. And so if it wasn't for that kind of training, Ahsoka would have been dead, right, at the beginning of Order 66. So very self-contained, yet very intertwined story. I enjoyed it, but like I said, I think this is the one that showed us the least amount of new story. But still, it's Filoni, so of course there had to be an Ahsoka callback, and I enjoyed it a lot. So as always, let me know down in the comments, what did you guys think about this episode? Did you think it was a good story? Did you think it was maybe a little bit unnecessary? Still fun though. And what was your favorite part about it? Was it mullet Obi-Wan like it was mine? I just really enjoyed seeing, Obi-Wan, episode 2 Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars setup. So yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. I thought it was cool, the inclusion of Caleb Doom. Of course, we see Yoda, Windu, Plo Koon, all of our favorites and all of Dave Filoni's favorites. So yeah, fun episode, if not super important. But once again, let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Also, please do not forget to hit the like button on this video. Thank you so much for joining me for another review. Please share the content with people you think would enjoy it. And do not forget to subscribe. Thanks again, and I'll catch you on the next one.